ladies and gentlemen, my apologies for the delay. Hopefully we can get underway now. Welcome to the October 2020 United Federation election. Tonight we have three candidates. Current President, Mr. Caden Schwartz for the Conservative Party, seeking a second term in office to break the one-term tradition and to become the first modern president to get 2 terms in office. Senator and former Vice President Rydon Foldhazi, hoping that his new political party, the Defender Party, can carry him to a swift victory. And Gainey, the other former Vice President, also hoping that his new political power and his new policies can lead voters to his platform. We are expecting state calls for the first round of voting from the state of Patriot, New Peoria, New Illinois, a key race there, and the state of Arstock. And our first projection of the evening, out of the state of Patriot, Mr. Caden Schwartz will carry the state's 4 seats. The Conservative Coalition, consisting of the Conservatives, the Union Party, and the Pacifists, will hold on to those 4 seats tonight. Mr. Schwartz will win the state of Patriot once again. And out of the state of New Peoria, with 2 seats in the council, Caden Schwartz, once again our projected winner. The Conservatives will again hold on to these 2 seats. And out of the state of Arstock, no surprise here, Mr. Schwartz's home state, the state where his approval rating has been the highest throughout his presidency, the state of Arstock goes to Caden Schwartz tonight. And out of the state of New Illinois, with its 24 split seats, the largest state in the Union, it splits its seats based on the popular vote, based on the proportional representation system. So whoever wins any percentage should expect some seats by the final tally. But with only 25% in, it is too early to make a projection, and the state is too early to call right now. On our tracker for the state council, the Conservative Coalition holds 8 seats, the Defenders 0, and the Democrats 0. In terms of the popular vote tonight, Caden Schwartz is out to an early lead with Gainey close behind and Rydon Foldhazi in 3rd place, not far behind either, already shaping up to be closer than was initially expected. In just a few minutes, we'll have calls in the states of New Canada, the state of Foldhazi, Groom Lake, key race there, New Ottawa, Kitty Marshmallow, Kekistan, Delta, Cottage Grove, Deerfield, and the District of Cardinal Heights. Deerfield is a key race there. The District of Cardinal Heights, of course, not a state, it is the capital of the Federation. And we are going to go ahead and make our projections for these states. Out of the state of New Canada, our first state of the evening for Mr. Rydon Foldhazi. New Canada's 1 seat will go to the Defender Party tonight. This is a flip. The state was flipped from red to green. Out of the state of Rydon, another single seat state. Caden Schwartz carries the state just similar to how he did in the previous election. And our first key race call of the evening, the state of Groom Lake, a state which Mr. Schwartz has now flipped from blue to red. Caden Schwartz carries the state of Groom Lake, of course the home of former President Calvin Petrie. Its 4 seats will go to the Conservatives tonight, to the Conservative Coalition. And another flip for Mr. Foldhazi. Out of the state of New Ottawa, his 1 seat will go to the Defender Party in the state council. And out of the state of Kitty Marshmallow, the home state of Mr. Schwartz's Vice President, Mr. Jackson Nesbitt, Caden Schwartz is, of course, the projected winner. Absolutely no surprise here, folks. And out of the state of Kekistan, is 1 seat in the state council, Rydon Foldhazi, the home of his vice presidential nominee, Jack Dominski, delivering a victory in Kekistan tonight. Its 1 seat will go green. And out of the state of Delta, it's 1 seat. Caden Schwartz will once again carry the state. Caden Schwartz has carried this state in the previous election and the election before. 2 elections ago. Of course, excluding Senator Calvin Petrie's sweep election. And here out of the state of Cottage Grove, our first seat going for the Democrats tonight, Mr. Luke Gainey will carry the state's 1 seat. It will go to the Democrats. This is a major flip, as the Democrats have never before won anything outside of the Meowtopian area. Mr. Gainey gaining ground for his party. And out of the state of Deerfield, another key race projection, Mr. Schwartz will carry the state's 4 seats. They will go to the Conservative coalition, most likely the Allied Union Party, but Caden Schwartz will carry this state tonight. And out of the district of Cardinal Heights, another major win for Mr. Gainey. 3 seats will go to Luke Gainey and his Democrats party tonight. Mr. Gainey, of course, expanding his coalition here. We can see a much broader picture for him. Many people believe this is due to being vice president for Mr. Jacob Monday. We will see if this streak holds. Mr. Gainey, of course, the longtime senator for the state of Meowtopia, expanding his reach further out. And on our council track, the Defender Party is up to 3 seats. The Democrats have 4, and the Conservatives are out to an early evening lead of 20 seats. Caden Schwartz is now fallen slightly behind in the popular vote as Rydon Foldhazi, though the states he's carrying do not hold as many seats. He's able to split some of the votes in states that Caden Schwartz is barely holding on to tonight. Mr. Schwartz is now slightly behind Mr. Foldhazi in the popular vote. Luke Gainey remaining in 3rd place now, bumped down from 2nd. Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Foldhazi coming out to be the evening's challengers. Up next, we have the 3rd voting block in just a moment. We have state polls in Columbus, in Cougar, and the key races of New California, Pearl, Ramen, Prairie, in addition to a call in Hotel of His Own and a call in Circles. And out of the state of Columbus, Patrium's sister state, Caden Schwartz will carry the state once again, just as he did in the previous election, solidifying his hold on the states which he gained in our last round. Mr. Caden Schwartz carries the state of Columbus. Its 2 seats will go Conservative. And out of the state of Cougar, a flip here for Mr. Foldhazi, 2 seats in the state council. Mr. Foldhazi will carry the state tonight. This is a flip from the last election. And out of the state of New California, the key race, Mr. Caden Schwartz will carry the swing state. This is one of the states in the Federation Rust Belt where the industry is very slowly deteriorating. Mr. Schwartz's pledges of larger economic growth have resonated there quite strong. And out of the state of Prairie, take a look at this. The results are tied with 32% of the vote in. Caden Schwartz carried this state last time with his promises of economic progress. The state of Prairie, a major swing state, a major bellwether state, critical for both the Foldhazi and Schwartz campaign. We can expect this state to be very important when it's called, but for now it is too close. And yet another too close to call. The same story in the state of Pearl, another reliable bellwether, their Federation Rust Belt state. Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Foldhazi fighting it out for the swing states tonight with 43% of the vote in. Mr. Schwartz is at a 10% lead over Mr. Foldhazi, but with this, with less than half the vote in, it is still too close to call. Anything can happen before this state goes. And out of the state of Ramen, a key race here is something I personally did not expect. Mr. Rydon Foldhazi carries the state of Ramen. Its 5 seats will go to the Defender Party. This is a flip and a major key state for Mr. Foldhazi's campaign, managing to win out in a state that has previously been reliably liberal. Mr. Foldhazi clearly carrying that tradition on with his policies being slightly more left-wing than Mr. Schwartz. And another surprising state here, the state of Circles, the home of Mr. Schwartz's challenger in the last election. Mr. Caden Schwartz carries the state one seat, and it will go Conservative tonight. On the council track of the Defender Party with 14 seats, slowly catching up to the Conservative Party's 24 seats. The Democrats hold 4. The Democrats have yet to pull in Meowtopia. There's certainly a possibility here that Meowtopia could flip, but it's very unlikely. The Democrats have held Meowtopia for such a long period of time. On our popular vote tracker, Caden Schwartz just barely has taken back the lead. Mr. Foldhazi still very close behind, especially with that win in the state of Ramen, flipping already part of the Federation's Rust Belt. A major win for the Foldhazi campaign, and a major win for the Defender Party's future as well, winning such a large state. Next up, we have the Outer States block, the states of Castle Rock, Nokomis, Wolf Hollow, Manuka, Delafield and Waukesha, South Milwaukee, Columbia, St. Louis, Mariona, Muskego, and Dragavania. These states, in the last elections, Mr. Schwartz swept these states pretty widely, in fact. We can expect, once again, Mr. Schwartz to probably carry a majority of these. There's certainly the possibility that Mr. Foldhazi could pull out a win. He's originally from the state of Dragavania, and he's been hard campaigning in states like Wolf Hollow and Castle Rock, especially with Castle Rock being so culturally similar to Ramen. We could be in for some flips here tonight, folks. And out of the state of Castle Rock, Rydon Foldhazi will carry the state's one seat in the council. It will go green tonight, folks. And out of the state of Nokomis, Castle Rock's much bigger sister, Rydon Foldhazi once again will carry this state. The Defender Party once again taking another state out of the Schwartz column tonight. And out of the state of Wolf Hollow, which I just mentioned, Rydon Foldhazi will carry the state's 2 seats in the council. Just a growing list of green tonight. Out of the state of Manuka, Caden Schwartz will hold on to this state, and its 1 seat will remain Conservative, as will the seat in Delafield and Waukesha. Caden Schwartz is our projected winner there. Out of the state of South Milwaukee, Caden Schwartz is again our projected winner tonight. This state is very economically bound to the FWR for a lot of its commerce, so it would make sense that Mr. Schwartz himself, being from the FWR, would carry the state tonight. Out of the state of Columbia, another Schwartz poll tonight. The Conservatives will retain this seat in the state council, as they will for the state of St. Louis in 1 seat in the council. And in the state of Lariola, Caden Schwartz will again retain this state. The outer states tend to be very supportive of the Conservative Party. Mr. Schwartz will carry on this tradition tonight. And in the state of Muskego, it's 1 seat. Mr. Caden Schwartz will carry this state. He will hold on to it tonight. And out of the state of Dragavania, a flip here. Mr. Foldhazi will take this state away from Mr. Schwartz. It will go green tonight. Mr. Foldhazi has won, and that seat will be green. On our council tracker, the Conservatives are now at 31, the Defenders at 18, and the Democrats remaining at 4. In terms of the popular vote, it is still close with Caden Schwartz and Rydon Foldhazi. Very, very close to each other, with Mr. Schwartz at a slight lead. Mr. Gainey is slightly falling behind him. And out of the states of Meowtopia, Rydonia, those 2 key races there, Movania, Nicaragua, North Mendota, in our 4th voting block. These states will be called next. Now, we can very much expect Mr. Gainey to make a very good showing in Meowtopia, of course, being his home state, being the home of the Democratic Party in general. In fact, the Democrats are often called the Special Interest Party, specifically for Nowtopian cultural interests. We can expect Mr. Gainey to probably carry that state, but I believe Mr. Schwartz carried it in the last election, so it could be a flip here tonight. And just as expected, a flip, Mr. Gainey will carry the 8th seat from Nowtopia. One of the largest states in the Union tonight will go to the Democrats. Those seats will be reliably light blue. We can, long expected, very much predicted, Mr. Gainey will carry this state in its 8 seats in the council. And another very expected win here, Mr. Foldhazi in his namesake state, Rydon, will carry the key state, and its 5 seats will go green in the state council. Out of the state of Movania, a conservative stronghold, Caden Schwartz carries the 2 seats from the state, just on the outer limits of the Federation's Rust Belt. However, this is very much not a swing state. It's been reliably conservative from the very start. And out of the state of Nicaragua, Caden Schwartz retains the 2 seats in the council tonight. And out of the state of North Mendota, Mr. Schwartz will again carry, he will not only carry, he will hold on to this seat. The Conservatives will carry this state. And on our map here, we can see that the Defender Party has 23 states, slowly running up the numbers here. The Conservatives at 31, and Mr. Gainey and his Democrats Party now moved up to 12 seats in the council tonight. And in the popular vote, take a look at this, folks. Caden Schwartz and Rydon Foldhazi almost neck and neck here. It looks like they're tied, in fact, folks. It is going to be a much tighter election tonight than we expected. And we have some key race updates incoming. In the state of Prairie, Caden Schwartz will hold on to the bellwether state, the state which has reliably predicted the winner. The state of Prairie, 3 seats will go Conservative. This was a major part of Mr. Schwartz's victory against Alex Knabel in the last election. He will hold on to these seats tonight. He will hold on to the state. And out of the state, and here's the final tally for the state of Prairie, my mistake. 57% for Mr. Schwartz, Rydon Foldhazi with 43%, with 100% of the vote in from the state. And out of the state of Pearl and its 2 seats in the council, it was previously too close to call, but we can now make our projection. Mr. Schwartz will carry the state tonight with 100% in. Caden Schwartz with 55%, exactly the same percent as when we left off, in fact. Mr. Schwartz will carry the state of Pearl tonight. On our state council tracker, these additional states put Mr. Schwartz at 36 seats for the Conservative Party, his party. The Defender Party at 23 seats, and the Democrats at 12. In our popular vote tracker, Mr. Schwartz moving ahead of Mr. Foldhazi with those wins in the Federation Rust Belt. Clearly, Mr. Schwartz is retaining his hold on the hearts and minds of those citizens of the Federation tonight. And it is time for the big calls. These are the calls that can determine the entire fate of the election. The 20 duo, previously the 19 duo, but New West Virginia gained yet another seat this election cycle. That state just keeps on growing. It's on track to surpass New Illinois potentially in a couple of years, if all remains as planned. And in the very, very important race of New West Virginia, Caden Schwartz will carry this state, a key race, the second biggest state in the Union, one that was absolutely critical to Mr. Schwartz's victory in the previous election. He has carried this state. Its 11 seats will be going red tonight. Mr. Schwartz has won in the state of New West Virginia. The Conservatives will hold on to those 11 seats. A major, major victory for the Schwartz campaign. and for Mr. Schwartz himself. And a very unexpected flip here in the state of New Alaska. Mr. Foldhazi will carry the state's 9 seats, a key race here. These seats will go green. Mr. Foldhazi will carry New Alaska. He will gain its 9 seats. His party will gain those 9 seats, excuse me. Mr. Foldhazi is the projected winner. And we have a key race update, and I have a feeling it's a big one. Out of the state of New Illinois, the biggest state in the Union, Caden Schwartz will carry the state's 15 seats, and Mr. Foldhazi will carry 10, a much tighter grouping than we expected from the state. New Illinois was previously projected to possibly even go to Foldhazi. But it looks like Mr. Schwartz has been able to carry the state tonight. He will get 15 of the state's seats. Mr. Foldhazi will get 10. On our council tracker, the defenders with their big gain in New Alaska at 42 seats, but the conservatives with 52 seats pulling ahead tonight. The Democrats still at 12 seats. Mr. Caden Schwartz is leading in the popular vote tonight. Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Foldhazi have been going back and forth, but Mr. Schwartz is leading Mr. Foldhazi at the moment. And ladies and gentlemen, the biggest call of the evening, right now we can confirm Mr. Caden Schwartz will win a second term as the President of the United Federation. Mr. Schwartz and his Conservative Party have shown that they are not only a force to be reckoned with once, but they have now repeated their success. They are a staying power in the Federation. This is a major win for Mr. Schwartz tonight. Mr. Schwartz, of course, carrying around 53% of the popular vote, a much lower percentage of the popular vote than he previously carried in the last election, but Mr. Schwartz has won a second term. And with that, we can also assume that the Conservatives will have a majority in the state council, and if not a majority, then certainly a plurality. Despite that call, we still have 3 more states here: Lincoln, the Kitty Marsh District, and Windsor. Out of the state of Lincoln, President-elect Caden Schwartz, we can now call him, will carry the state. His 2 seats will go conservative. They will go red tonight. Mr. Schwartz will retain his hold on the state of Lincoln, as he will for the state of Windsor. Its 1 seat will also remain conservative tonight. And out of the state of Kitty Marsh District, 1 seat, our last call of the evening, Mr. Caden Schwartz will carry the state. On our final council tracker, the Defender Party going from a measly 4 seats to 42 tonight. Mr. Foldhazi may not have carried the presidency, but he gave a much better showing, and even I will admit he absolutely made a bigger splash than I expected. I think that sentiment is probably echoed throughout the nation. Mr. Foldhazi's party has made major ground, showing that its ideas are appreciated throughout the Federation. Mr. Foldhazi's leadership is appreciated throughout the Federation. The Conservatives, of course, with their victory in the presidency tonight, will go on for another 3 months in the executive branch, and with their coalition government with the Union Party and the Pacifists, they will most likely remain in the majority in the state council. And the Democrats, absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, going from 7 seats to 12, just gaining more seats. Mr. Gainey expanding his reach despite not being able to carry the presidency. Caden Schwartz here has won the popular vote. We can go ahead and assume, based on how many people have already voted, we have a large enough percent of the Federation population to go ahead and call Mr. Schwartz with around 53% of the popular vote. In fact, about 53.2% of the popular vote, to be as precise as possible. Mr. Foldhazi coming in with 26%, and Mr. Gainey with 20% tonight. Much better showing from Mr. Foldhazi and Mr. Gainey, a much stronger performance than was originally anticipated. And ladies and gentlemen, There are no more states to call. This has been an interesting evening, to say the least. I want to thank everybody for voting. Mr. Schwartz, congratulations. We hope to see you succeed in your next term. Mr. Schwartz might be calling in, actually. Mr. Schwartz might be calling in.
I'm sorry, the person you...
And ladies and gentlemen, we have the President of the Federation and the President-elect on the phone. Mr. Schwartz, you are live on FNN.
Oh, thank you for having me, John. I'm just really proud of what we accomplished today. Really showing that the conservative party is here to stay in the Federation. We aren't just we aren't just here to make a one show and fade into the night. We're here forever. And I'm just
Mr. President,
pretty happy about just what we pulled off.
Absolutely, Mr. President. Is there you are now the first president since Ainsley Wall 3 years ago, almost 40 months ago, to be able to secure a second term in office. How does that make you feel, sir?
It's really amazing, and it's delightful to me that the people of the Federation would see me fit to hold that same position and have that same honor that Ainsley Wall held previous.
Mr. President, do you have anything that you would like to say to the people of the Federation tonight upon your victory? Is there anything that you would like for the people to know?
I'd like to say thank you, and that we're gonna keep on doing good things, keep on doing great. We'll make the economy bigger and better, to continue the space program. Gonna keep on doing all those great things we've been doing, but we're gonna rank it up 10%, 10 times what we've been doing. We're just gonna keep on going at it and hope everything goes well.
Absolutely, Mr. President. I'll give you the floor. Is there anything else at all that you would like to say to the people tonight?
Not really, except I would like to thank my competitors, Mr. Rydon, Foldhazi, and Mr. Gainey, for a wonderful campaign and election month. It was very exciting, and I wish the new Defender Party well in their future endeavors in the politics of the United Federation.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Schwartz. I wish you all the best. And I don't really have that much else to say, sir. I wish you the best. Good luck in your second term. Congratulations on your victory.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Of course. You have a good evening, sir.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the president-elect, the once and future president of the Federation, Mr. Caden Schwartz, winning a second term in office, unprecedented since Ainsley Wall herself. Mr. Schwartz carrying fewer states than he previously did, but retaining enough of the vote tonight to ensure his victory, his party's victory, his coalition's victory, and his ideals' victory. Just goes to show Mr. Schwartz appears to have a firm grip on what the people of the Federation want. Again, we can also look forward to the Defender Party with its 42 seats, a much bigger showing than I think anybody really expected. Very impressive. Congratulations to Mr. Foldhazi and his party's excellent showing tonight. And congratulations to Mr. Gainey for his party also expanding its reach, gaining more seats than it had before. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. This has been the Federation News Network. I'm John Banks George. That's the news, and good night.